Hi, it's Steve Summers and Erik Skopil for EUGENE.com. Erik, no Robbie Boydston today. He was
sad day.
Sad day. He was had the hay fever has got him down, but I'm sure he's going to recover. So anyway, today is the Wednesday of the third week of spring ball. There's 2 more weeks after this until the spring game, which is on May 3rd on Saturday. So anyway, Erik, summarize what happened today.
Well, you mentioned it being, I think it's the 8th practice, so we're just kind of past that midpoint. They have 14 practices, and Tyler Johnstone said that Coach Helfrich spoke with the team after practice and said this was the best practice they've had this spring. So they're kind of hitting their stride, which it sounds like is kind of maybe that's the norm. You kind of get midway through, guys are starting to figure everything out, and they've kind of hit that point. So obviously that's a very positive thing. He also said no injuries. I'm not sure if he'd tell us one way or the other, but that's always obviously a positive, especially with the way the spring has gone so far.
Well, speaking of Tyler Johnstone again, he looked like he'd been working. What's going on with him?
Well, it sounds like he's not participating in most practices, but they've got him off to the side working on rehab stuff, and the work's enough that he's leaving with a shirt that's covered in sweat, drenched in sweat. You looked at his shirt. I think it started light gray, and now it's dark gray, so that kind of tells you. And he said he likes that.
Yeah.
Because he likes kind of leaving practice feeling like he's working, even if he's not kind of with the team doing what they're doing. So obviously a good step for him. He feels like he's kind of surprised at how far he's at with this rehab process, and that's a good sign. You talk about losing Braylon Addison to injury, but we're getting a guy like Tyler back who's kind of an anchor on that offensive line. Maybe he's further along than we expected, and that would be a very, very positive thing.
Now, we also had a chance to talk to Tony Washington. I think the main thing that I got out, because I asked him about, all the talk is always about how Oregon's undersized when they go up against opponents. Tony said, well, in some cases, but really it was more about the effort that the Ducks are putting out.
Sure, and I think maybe the weight gain's been kind of the predominant story going into it, but maybe just approach it as, hey, they're continuing to work and continuing to get better, and maybe the focus has changed a little bit in the weight room. It sounds like they are doing kind of a different approach, at least with some of the offense and defensive line guys, but the focus is just that they're improving, maybe not that they put on so much weight. Well,
this is a team that's experienced. They've been to bowl games. They know. The only real rough spots they've had was at the end of last year when they lost to Stanford, then had that loss to Arizona. But other than that, this team's got a lot of experience.
Well, absolutely, and a lot of talent. Like you said, a lot of experience playing in big games. So, this spring is about the young guys, and that's been kind of, I think every spring that's the case. And they know what they've got. There's a lot of proven commodities on this team, but now it's a matter of kind of filling in those spots where there are question marks, and that's where those young guys maybe coming along is such a big thing.
Well, I think what we'll be looking for in the spring game, at least what I'll be looking for, is does this team look like the same team that played in the last spring games?
Sure, and they've been really impressive the last couple of springs, and I think from what we've heard, and we haven't seen anything, so we have no idea, but it sounds like they should be impressive again. And I think for me, if we're going to look forward to that spring game in a couple of weeks, I think the big question mark for me is just those wide receivers and who Marcus is going to throw to. We know they've got the skill players, we just don't know who it's going to be.
Well, it helps the wide receivers a lot when they got a quarterback who can actually get them the ball.
Absolutely, and we know they've gotten that.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's what we got to look forward to. So we're going to have 2 more weeks of what we're doing now. Then we'll get for the spring game. So until then, Erik is going to be here for all the practice, of course. And next week I'll be back.
Robbie hopefully will be back.
And hopefully Robbie will be back. He's planning on it. So until then, this is Steve Summers and Erik Skopil for EUGENE.com.